Mario Coppola is the vice president of the foundation, and Mario's along to present the 2017 Man of the Year Award. Mario.
Calvin, that's an impossible act to follow, but we'll try. Throughout the years, the Walter Camp Football Foundation's Man of the Year Award has been given to some of the greatest football players ever to play the game. This year's Man of the Year is no exception. Simply put, Calvin Johnson is one of the most dominant wide receivers ever to play the game. Many consider Johnson to be the greatest Georgia Tech player of all time. Johnson ranks first in school history in receiving yards, touchdown receptions, and 100-yard receiving games. Calvin was a two-time Walter Camp All-American in 2005 and 2006, when he also won the Blitnikoff Award and was honored as the best player in the ACC. Johnson's dominance carried over from college to his professional career. Calvin was selected number 2 by the Detroit Lions in 2007 and played for the Lions his entire NFL career. Johnson would become one of the greatest wide receivers ever to play the game of football, and certainly the greatest in Detroit Lion franchise history. Because of his large hands and his dominant play during his rookie season, Johnson was given the nickname Megatron after a character from the Transformers. Dominant would be the best word to describe Johnson's time in the NFL. From 2007 to 2015, Johnson was widely considered to be the absolute best wide receiver in football. Please turn your attention to the video screens.
In 2014, Calvin Johnson got off to a slow start, and then he got hurt.
There is a collective groan in this crowd of 65,000.
He missed 3 games. His stats suffered.
Even if he misses a few games, I mean, he's a dynamic player. If you just talk about top players in the league, he's by far one of them.
When he came back in Week 10 against the Dolphins, it took only 2 touches for Johnson to remind the world just why he's so special.
Stafford wants to throw, rolling to his right, loading and throwing deep, wants Calvin inside the 10, Megatron makes the catch!
Johnson took only 6.5 seconds to run his post, 48 yards as the crow flies. But he covered more ground than that running the route. Then at the moment of truth, he outleaped and overpowered solid coverage from cornerback Brent Grimes. Size and speed.
That's one-on-one with Jonathan Banks, who's a very tall cornerback. Calvin Johnson's just too big of a guy.
Oh man, these are some big hands, huh? He has some big old hands.
Big hands, big man. But what impresses peers the most about Johnson's body is how he controls it.
To be that big and have that type of body mobility like he does, you know, making those catches and twisting and turning like that, definitely an attribute that any receiver would like to have.
His catch radius, you can't do anything to emulate that.
Stafford to Johnson, near side, makes the grab.
He had to be out of bounds. If he could tightrope that, then he's the best cat on earth, I think.
He's one of the best.
He's one of the best. I tell you what,
He's one of the best. He got it in.
He's just better than everyone else, and it seems counterintuitive to say because all the receivers in the NFL are elite, but almost like Tiger Woods in his prime, Jack Nicklaus in his prime, Muhammad Ali in his prime.
Just one of those, throw it up and let Calvin Johnson high point it.
It's impossible not to pay attention to Johnson. But those who are undisciplined about it usually pay the price.
Wide open, Calvin Johnson catches it at the 25, and he'll just walk into the end zone for a touchdown.
That is the mega play that I was talking about. When things break down, the safeties have to stay back over the top. They got nosy, ran up, and Calvin Johnson went down the field.
With a guy like that, it's always going to be tough. Some way, somehow, he's going to make his plays.
His 6'5" frame, 230 pounds. You just blocked him out and made the catch.
Contain him for over 100 in less than 200. You've done a good job. You just hope to contain him and hope he's not the one to just beat your team by himself.
In 2014, Johnson's numbers waned. But it's clear the respect he gets from opponents has.
Good coverage, but you know what? With Megatron, it's just not good enough. Wow!
Now, when Johnson came into the league in 2007, some of the greatest wide receivers were known for showboating and trying to show up opponents. We won't name any names. But Calvin couldn't be any more different than that. Megatron has always been a dominant force whenever a ball was thrown in his direction. However, Johnson has played the game with class. Calvin has carried himself with grace both on and off the field, including during his time on Dancing with the Stars. In 2008, Johnson started the Calvin Johnson Jr. Foundation, which focuses on education, scholarship, and helping the less fortunate. Calvin continues to help youth and the less fortunate in his community. Tonight, we honor Calvin Johnson for his dominant play, but more importantly, for his continued class and grace, both on and off the field. Our 2017 Man of the Year, Calvin Johnson.
Good evening, everybody. That was definitely a drop the mic moment you had there, Noah. The program should have been over right after that. There's definitely a God in this place tonight. I got a couple reasons myself, but the love that Noah displays to his brother, I mean, it permeates the room. I've seen it this whole weekend, and I have much love for you, brother. You and your brother and your family, the whole Aldridge family. Thank you, Walter Camp Foundation, for bringing myself and my family back to this wonderful event. You guys treat us like family, as everybody has said. This is truly a wonderful, and I always say the most prestigious award event that there is for college football and professional football. I'd like to start by thanking God, my family, my lovely wife, Brittany, my mother and father. They're sitting right here. Mom and Dad, I love you guys. They've literally been to pretty much every game. They might have missed one or two, but over 100 games in the NFL. They were at every one home and away. I thank them very much. And to that note, I told you I was gonna get back to God in this piece. Played in Philadelphia. Was it Philadelphia? Played in Philadelphia. I forget what year. Before the game, nice and sunny out, green grass. 2 hours later, 6 inches of snow on the ground. To get to my point, after the game, my mom and dad, they're headed back home, headed to the airport. We lost the game, by the way. But my mom's going into the airport. She slips on some ice and goes to get a checkup, finds out she has pancreatic cancer. Anybody that knows anything about pancreatic cancer, you know it's one of the most deadly diseases in the world. But that was a blessing in disguise because she was able to find out then and not later, before it was too late, because she's still here with us right now. I also have to say I can't thank them enough for help setting my foundation and for helping me create my own foundation, because the feeling that you receive from giving back, you can never, never get enough of. I got a couple words I want to send off to the All-Americans and anybody else it touches. It's a little bit about greatness. Greatness isn't just reserved for those that cross those white lines on the field. Greatness comes from many different shapes and forms. It can be a doctor. It can be an officer. It could be a teacher or simply your mother and father. Greatness is a consistent attention to detail. Greatness is that inner voice that always encourages you to do the right thing. It is setting goals for oneself. Greatness is always striving for perfection. though rarely perfect. Greatness is young Noah Aldridge completing a triathlon, toting his brother Lucas. Greatness isn't being superior to your neighbor, but superior to your former self. Greatness is a vision combined with the inevitable, which is hard work. Greatness comes from turning worry into meditation, creating focus. Greatness comes from perfect practice, not just regular practice of one's craft, but a perfect practice. Greatness comes not from your ability, but your availability. You guys have a lot of ability up here at this table. You wouldn't be up here if you didn't. But how available are you going to be to put that ability to work? It comes from overcoming adversity. It comes from a great attitude and effort. Greatness comes from loving what you do. Greatness is hard work married with faith. Greatness is purposeful. Greatness is you. I have two quotes that I'm going to tell you guys before I sit down. One of them comes from Denzel Washington, one of my favorite actors. You remember him saying, I think he had an interview, and he said that anything you practice, you'll become good at, including BS. And my other quote comes from a book that I read. The people who become excellent at a given thing aren't necessarily the same ones who seem to be gifted at a young age. This suggests that when it comes to choosing a life path, people should do what they love. Because if you're not doing what you love, you are very unlikely to work hard enough to become good at it or great at it. Thank you guys for your time. I'm going to keep it short so we can get back and watch that playoff game.
Greatness is Calvin Johnson.